Good morning, everyone. My name is Vicki Diamond, and I'm the Senior Vice President here at WellSpan Health, and I also serve as the President of WellSpan York Hospital. I want to welcome everyone to WellSpan York Hospital today, and a real special welcome to Governor Tom Wolf. Welcome back to WellSpan York Hospital, where he was born. And several other esteemed guests. And thank you for all the support that we've received at WellSpan during the last difficult 2.5 years. I also want to welcome State Police Colonel Evan Check, along with York City Police Commissioner Mike Muldrow, and Tiffany Lowe from our Credible Messenger program, which you'll be hearing a little bit more about, including WellSpan's involvement with this initiative. Behind me is the entrance to WellSpan York Hospital Emergency Department, and we are the region's only Level 1 trauma resource, making us a leader in advanced specialty care. Unfortunately, because of this high level of care that we provide, that also means that we regularly see victims of gun violence in our hospital. Here at the hospital, we see the human tragedy that gun violence can lead to. We have cared for over 250 gunshot victims from the city of York since 2018. We knew that more work was necessary to be done to address this. And so we have partnered with the City of York, along with numerous community groups, as part of a group violence intervention strategy, really intended to galvanize our entire community and seek sustainable solutions to this issue. One of the efforts is the Credible Messenger program, which you'll hear a little bit more about later. WellSpan has a large team supporting this program, from trauma services to the emergency department, from social workers to behavioral health, and from community health and spiritual care. We are working to build a healthier community because we know change isn't easy, but we're going to stay at it until we succeed. And with that, I'd like to turn it over to our Governor, Tom Wolf.
Thank you. Thanks, Victoria. Thanks, Victoria. Thank you very much. And it's really nice to be here with all of you, back to where I was born. Mayor Helfrich, good to see you. Actually, it was a long time ago, so it's not, I'm laughing less and less these days on this. But anyway, thank you very much, Victoria, for that introduction. The point is, we must stop gun violence here in Pennsylvania. Gun violence has taken far too many lives. It has cut short too many futures, and it has brought grief and fear to too many communities. Reducing gun violence is a top priority for me. That's why in 2019, I signed an executive order making sweeping changes to reduce gun violence in Pennsylvania. That executive order created the Office of Gun Violence Prevention within the Pennsylvania Commission on Crime and Delinquency, as well as the Division of Violence Prevention within the Department of Health, the Pennsylvania Department of Health. The order also created a special counsel on gun violence, which studied the problem and created a report with recommendations on things that we can do to reduce gun violence. My administration has also invested more than $50 million in gun violence and prevention programs, and I've joined an agreement with the governors of New Jersey, New York, and Connecticut to share crime gun data across state lines in an effort to reduce gun violence in our region. This is a big problem all across Pennsylvania, but it's also a big problem all across the United States. Gun violence is something that's really a problem. And unfortunately, executive action alone cannot end gun violence in Pennsylvania. We've also all seen the tragic headlines from communities all across Pennsylvania in recent weeks and months, including right here in York, Pennsylvania. As gun violence continues to invade our schools, our homes, and our communities, it's a call for action on all of our parts. According to data from the CDC, gun deaths hit an all-time high in 2020 with more than 45,000 Americans killed from firearm-related injuries. Tragically, that includes 1,752 Pennsylvanians. And too many of those deaths come from ghost guns. Ghost guns that are not subject to checks and balances that keep legal gun owners and our communities safe. The numbers don't lie. Ghost guns are being seized and recovered from crime scenes. You'll hear from Colonel Ivanchek in a minute. They're seized and recovered from crime scenes at an alarming rate. Combined, the Pennsylvania State Police and Philadelphia Police have recorded 147 seizures of ghost guns already this year. And we're still in April, the fourth month of the year. So we have to do more. Now, thanks to the Biden administration, we can. Earlier this month, the Biden administration announced new federal regulations on ghost guns to help reduce violence across the United States. Unserialized guns are an untraceable threat to our society, and Pennsylvania stands ready to immediately mirror this new federal regulation at the state level as soon as we can. And I want to thank the Biden administration for standing with us against gun violence and paving the way for this important step. Together, we can keep ghost guns off our streets, keep our communities safer. Thank you. And now I'm going to turn things over to Pennsylvania State Commissioner, Colonel Robert Ivanchek.
Good morning. In the Commonwealth, the Pennsylvania State Police serves as the point of contact for federal firearms licensees with the National Instant Criminal Background Check System, also known as NICS. The state police is required under state and federal law to apply relevant firearm prohibitions in the background check process to prevent prohibited individuals from obtaining firearms. Currently, the Pennsylvania State Police is updating its existing regulations to mirror certain provisions of the forthcoming federal firearms regulatory package. These federal changes are fundamentally designed to address the various challenges presented by partially completed frames and receivers, which are not currently regulated as firearms under federal law. Similar changes will be made to the existing state regulations to ensure the phrase frame or receiver, as it is used in state law, addresses partially complete, disassembled, or non-functional frames or receivers. The General Assembly has entrusted the Pennsylvania State Police with administering the provisions of the Pennsylvania Uniform Firearms Act. This responsibility includes the authority to develop and implement the regulations necessary to carry out these regulations. At this time, I'll call upon Commissioner Muldrow from the York City Police Department.
Good morning, everyone. As he said, my name is Michael Muldrow. I proudly come to you as both the Commissioner of the York City Police Department, but also as an advocate for this York community that I love so much. Thank you, Governor Wolf, Colonel Ivanchek, my friends, Miss Vicki Diamond, and the beloved Tiff Lowe, who you will soon meet and hear from, Mayor Helfrich City Council, our local leaders, federal partners, community teammates who support this work, and the unwavering officers behind you that are here with me today. Thank you for having me. Thank you for allowing me to speak for a moment on behalf of you. I think it's so appropriate, poignant even, that we all meet or gather here today in front of this great hospital that on a daily basis fights to save countless lives in this community. Joined here by so many wonderful partners in this fight against this latest public health crisis, the epidemic that is gun violence in our society. We need only look to the daily headlines to support that statement, whether a shooting in a school or on a street corner or at a local mall. Gun violence is the number one threat our communities are facing throughout this county, across this state, and around this country. And the one thing I hope we can all agree on, no matter what side of the line you may fall, is doing the things that we need to do to stop the flow of illegal guns into our neighborhoods, getting them out of the hands of our kids, and keeping our communities alive is the most important thing. And make no mistake, friends, whether you'd like to turn a blind eye to it in the belief that it's not happening in your neighborhood, the reality is a bullet has no name, no respect for class, and does not honor jurisdictional boundaries. This really is a war that we're fighting right here, right now, and we're fighting it on all fronts in all of our communities. Because even in a small city like ours, where we've already confiscated nearly 10 ghost guns in the first 4 months of this year, half of those being persons not to possess. We're here already battling against suppliers that are dumping guns onto our streets, profiting from peddling death. As a community where 50% of all the gun violence is being perpetrated by kids, our kids and young men, the fact is we're killing ourselves and we're watching our future die before our very eyes. So anything that will cut down on the amount of shootings, cut down on the number of young people that we're burying, and cut down on the families who have to suffer like this and deal with the kind of trauma that they face, I do, I will, and I will always adamantly support. So with that said, I want to thank Governor Wolf, the Pennsylvania State Police, our legislators, for getting in the fight and giving embattled communities like mine the resource to do just that, make a difference, and keep people alive. I don't know about all of you, but after hearing this, I find myself hopeful and encouraged. Hopeful that people are listening to the struggles that we're having on a grassroots level, and encouraged that we're on the right tracks and we'll continue to be able to see things get better in this community. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. And it gives me great pleasure to introduce you all and the rest of Pennsylvania to my Tiflo, York City's first credible messenger.
Hello, everyone. Do I look nervous? Because I am.
Take your time.
I don't do speeches. I have conversations. So I hope everyone doesn't mind that. It's such an honor to be here today representing York City with people who love my city just as much as I do. People who are willing to listen to the solutions as well as assist with the concerns my city is facing. One of our biggest concerns is gun violence. This is not a light conversation or a light concern because we're losing our youth to gun violence. This is actually a major concern and a major conversation. Every day, my team and I, my community, we place our boots on the ground, our ears to the streets, and we wear our hearts on our sleeves, doing all the work that we can with the resources that are allotted to us to implement programs, mentor youth, take ghost guns off the street, take all guns off the streets, and most importantly, save as many lives as we can. But somehow, that isn't enough when we're still burying 17-year-old kids. I'm not afraid to say it boldly. We need help. Governor, lawmakers, thank you for helping us. Whew, that was hard. That was hard. I'm sorry. We need our voices heard, our mission assisted, and more people to stand with us so that we can have more graduations and less funerals.
Amen.
See, it's unnatural to continuously bury our kids. It's unnatural for 15-year-old children to carry guns and not be reprimanded. It's unnatural for this problem to become a norm for us. I get it. We don't want to build more jails and facilities to place our youth when they're caught carrying firearms, but we also don't want to continuously dig holes at the cemetery to bury them. Do you understand? Some think this problem is too far gone to reverse, but I beg to differ. I know our kids want to live, and my faith allows me to believe that lawmakers, my community, want the same thing. Please, stop me if I'm wrong. Thank you for allowing me to continue to talk. Our children are our future, and we do know that, right? So our children, they're our next Governor Tom Wolfs, our next Michael Muldrows, our next Tiff Lowe's, our next Vicky Diamonds. But in order for us to secure their future, we must save their lives and continue to fight gun violence. See, I have never in my life been in a fight where it was easy. And honestly, I wouldn't want to be in a fight that was easy. That's like being a bully, right? Put me up against your biggest opponent, which ours is gun violence. And give me a team like the one we have, and I can assure you, we're going to win that fight. So what I'm asking everyone here, are you still willing to fight with us? I thank you for taking the time to hear us, to hear me, to assist us, and making it your priority to attend more graduations and less funerals. Now it's my honor to turn it over to Governor Tom Wolf. Thank you.
Yes. Nice job.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tiff. And thank you, everybody, for being here. I want to point out Commissioner Hoke, Carol Hill Evans, who is state representative, is a supporter, and we do great things together up in Harrisburg. And one of was it your immediate predecessor, Kevin Schreiber, right here? So it's good to be back. So any of us would be happy to take questions. Yes. Yeah, and that's what today's conference is about, trying to figure out what we do about ghost guns. The reason it's a problem, and the Colonel and I were talking about, why would you think about it? What would prompt somebody to actually get a ghost gun and not put a serial number on it? Now, there are some hobbyists, and they don't have any problem putting legal folks who just really like putting things together, and so that's no problem. But if you want to do a ghost gun, you don't want the serial number. What do you think is the motive there? It's not out to go hunting. It's to do something illegal. And so I think the Biden administration, with the national call to do something about ghost guns and regulate them, is on the right track. And we've been doing that here. The Attorney General of Pennsylvania started this last year, and the state police have been working with the Attorney General's office, and we're working now with the feds. We have a lot of ATF folks here. We I think, are doing everything we can to make sure that this is an industry that is regulated just like the rest of the firearms industry, and has to be regulated the same way they are. It's a level playing field, and I think that's going to make a big difference.
So when you hear from Commissioner Muldrow saying 10 ghost guns recovered, seized by police over the last 4 months, what do you think about that?
It's what I said in my comments. I mean, we already have 147 just between Philadelphia and the state police that have been confiscated, 10 just here in New York, and this is only April. So this is a problem, and we need to address it. And I think Tiff is absolutely right. This is something that we've got to stand up and say, we're not going to. This stuff leads to funerals. It doesn't lead to graduations. It doesn't lead to great innovations. It doesn't lead to great things happening to communities. It leads to bad things happening, and we've got to do what we can to address that. And part of this is the ghost gun regulations.
What do you say to those who say the issue doesn't lie in the fact that there's access to guns? They say the issue lies in addressing mental health.
Well, to the point you're making, that it's a broader question than simply guns. That's we have folks who we spend a lot of time in Harrisburg addressing all kinds of issues of equity and education funding, making sure people have adequate food and housing, that the criminal justice system is fair and equitable to everyone. Yeah, there are a lot of issues. There are mental health issues. We got to have parity between mental and physical health. There's a lot of work to do, but part of it is making sure that we have an adequate regulation of guns, and ghost guns are just one aspect of the problem of too many guns and too many hands.
Well, you hear the saying, and people were arguing this coming out of that rally that we had on Wednesday or Tuesday at the Capitol, saying that guns don't kill people, people kill people.
Right.
But
yeah.
Here we're not seeing that.
No. It's a broad issue, and it includes standing up as Tiff does, as the commissioners, as all of us are doing, saying, come on, let's stop this. We can't do this. One of the fundamental rights we have is to live in a society where we're safe. We feel safe walking out of our homes. If we don't have that, that's a fundamental flaw, and we need to do a lot of things about that. This is one. Standing up and speaking out about it is another. Anything else? Mike?
No.
You don't have a question?
No.
You've changed. All right. Anything else?
Do the federal regulations go far enough? I mean, is there something that the state needs to do to intensify the crackdown on ghost guns?
That's a good question. I mean, I think you know what we really are all looking for is that magic wand where we can wave that wand and gun violence ends. And we don't have that magic wand. I'm not sure anything goes far enough. But again, we keep pushing and trying and doing what we can to address this issue. And the hope is it goes away. And I know, Colonel, you want to add to that?
Well, some of the things that we're doing, we're partnering with local law enforcement in the cities of Philadelphia, down in Chester, some other areas. We're also assisting Harrisburg PD recently. We've entered into some agreement to assist there as well. And what we do is we're partnering with other agencies, the ATF, local law enforcement. It's a force multiplier. And by joining our forces together, we can do a lot to combat some of these criminal violent acts that are occurring. This is just another useful tool here dealing with the ghost gun issue. And, it puts another tool in our tool chest to help us with that.
Can you be more specific? I'm sorry to keep pushing on this, but we know that one of the significant problems with ghost guns is the difficulty of identifying them because of the lack of serial numbers. So what has to be done to get these ghost guns off the street?
Well, this rule actually will make sure that they're produced by licensed manufacturers. Anyone buying the guns will have to pass background checks, require serial numbers on the kits, the frames, the receiver, which is the primary piece of the weapon itself, and will require federally licensed dealers who encounter these to serialize them before they're able to be sold or passed on.
Will that do the trick?
I don't know. It's just another tool that will help us. It's not an end-all and be-all. As the governor said, there is no magic wand, but it's another tool that will help us in our fight.
Anything else? Okay, thank you very much, everybody. Unfortunately, executive action alone cannot end gun violence in Pennsylvania. We've also all seen the tragic headlines from communities all across injuries. Tragically, that includes 1,752 Pennsylvanians. And too many of those deaths come from ghost guns. Ghost guns that are not... How you doing? She's much more interesting than Bianca.